Welcome to Elder Secrets, the home of extraordinary lives and timeless wisdom. Imagine being 104 years old and still hitting the road and the weights. Sounds impossible? Think again. In this episode, we reveal the daily habits and hidden truths behind one man's unstoppable strength and independence. Let's dive into a life that defies every limit you thought age could bring.
Okay, picture this. You're looking out across the parking lot. It's Gold's Gym, downtown Phoenix, 7 a.m. Monday morning. Lots already kind of busy. But then you see it. This pristine 1987 Buick LeSabre just eases right into the same spot it's had, like 3 times a week for the past 15 years. Engine cuts off, and out steps this man. Perfectly pressed slacks, crisp collared shirt, shoes are polished. He moves with this quiet confidence, grabs his gym bag, locks the car really deliberately, and just walks into the gym, head held high. And here's the thing that just stops people. This man, he's 104 years old, Samuel Rodriguez. And he's not just popping in for a quick stretch, no. He's about to spend the next 90 minutes doing stuff that would, frankly, challenge people a quarter his age. We're talking serious weightlifting, cardio, really pushing himself. But that's just the start of his day. You know, after the gym, he drives himself to the grocery store, picks up supplies, heads home. Then he makes lunch, not just for himself, but for his 98-year-old neighbor who can't cook anymore. Later this afternoon, doctor's appointment, purely preventative, just to check in.
Tonight, he'll be on video calls with his great-great-grandchildren. He'll text his grandson, help him with college algebra homework, then read 3 chapters of a biography. And tomorrow, rinse and repeat. He does it all again. It really makes you wonder, right? How is Sam Rodriguez not just, surviving at 104, but actually thriving in ways that would leave most of us decades younger totally exhausted? And the secret, as we found, it's not some miracle pill or fancy medical treatments or even just amazing genetics.
Yeah, it's definitely not what you'd immediately jump to. So our deep dive today is really into Sam's incredible story, tracing his life way back right from the start to understand the sort of simple principles that have kept him so vital, so independent for, well, over a century now. Our mission here is to pull out those foundational insights, the real nuggets, you could say, that define this extraordinary life.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's go right back. Sam's beginning.
Yeah.
Born 1920, small farming community outside San Antonio, Texas. Youngest of 7 kids. His family had immigrated from Mexico just 2 years before. Father, Miguel, worked these brutal 16-hour days in the cotton fields. Mother, Rosa, managed the household.
And what's really striking, even from that early stage, is how quickly Sam seemed to grasp that survival. For his family and for him, it meant hard work, it meant discipline. And crucially, a real commitment to taking care of yourself and your family. There just weren't any shortcuts.
Sounds incredibly tough. By age 8, he's already working with his father. In the fields. Before school, after school. That work must have been just backbreaking. What lessons do you think stick with someone from that kind of experience so young?
Oh, absolutely. The physical toll was immense, but he learned things that became core to who he is. First, probably that his body could handle way more than his mind thought it could, that initial barrier, Second, that just showing up consistently day after day doing the work that matters more than intensity or waiting for perfect conditions. Consistency over intensity, basically. And maybe most importantly, he learned that looking after his health wasn't a luxury. It wasn't optional. It was a fundamental duty, a responsibility he owed himself and everyone who relied on him.
And then, things get even tougher. Sam's 12. His father have a heart attack during harvest, can't work for months, and Sam just steps up. No big discussion, apparently. He just takes over a lot of his father's responsibilities. Waking up at 4 a.m., fields, school, back to the fields until sunset, that's a huge way for a kid.
It is, and that raises a really interesting point, because back then, in that context, it wasn't seen as extraordinary. It was just what you did. What it taught Sam, though, was this incredibly practical reality. His ability to work, to contribute, to literally care for his family. It was tied directly to his physical strength, his endurance. This wasn't some abstract idea from a book. It was his life.
So that connection was forged really early on.
Deeply.
Yeah.
And it wasn't seen as a burden necessarily, but more like the key to being capable. It shaped everything that came after.
Okay, fast forward a bit. Sam graduates high school in 1938. One of only 3 students in his class, which says something right there. Then 1939, he's 19, enlists in the U.S. Army, looking for training, opportunities, and probably continuing that path of physical and mental discipline.
Exactly. And basic training, it's designed to be tough, to break people down. But Sam, because of those years of hard labor, he actually found it relatively easy. He wasn't necessarily the strongest guy or the fastest, but he was just incredibly reliable, never complained, never missed a session because he was tired, just steady.
And that consistency got noticed.
It did, led to promotions, leadership roles. It set him apart.
And then, of course, things escalate dramatically. U.S. enters World War II in 1941. Sam's deployed to the Pacific Theater. Combat, the physical stress, the danger, lack of sleep, heavy gear. It breaks people.
Yeah.
How did Sam handle that?
His body and mind were, in a way, already conditioned for hardship. He not only endured, he excelled, earned commendations like the Bronze Star. But for our story, what's really key is what he learned during the war. He saw firsthand that physical fitness wasn't just about marching or fighting. It was directly linked to mental resilience.
How so?
To emotional stability, the ability to think clearly under extreme stress. He noticed soldiers who kept up their conditioning, even in those awful situations, they tended to cope better. They survived better mentally and physically. It cemented that connection for him.
So he comes back in 1945, decorated veteran, uses the GI Bill, becomes an electrician.
Yeah.
Industrial installations. Still physically demanding work, right? Cramped spaces, heavy lifting, heights.
Absolutely. His military fitness was almost like a continuing education for that job. And by the early 50s, he starts his own electrical contracting business. And there it is again, that theme. His livelihood, supporting his family, it all rested on him staying physically healthy and fit. It wasn't vanity, it was purely practical.
In 1952, he marries Elena Martinez, a nurse. Did her background influence their approach to health?
Oh, definitely. She shared that practical view. They established these routines together right from the start, waking up early, doing calisthenics in the backyard, simple, nutritious meals, lots of vegetables, lean protein, whole grains.
Like the stuff he probably grew up with, minus maybe the scarcity aspect.
Pretty much. Sustainable stuff. And they took long walks in the evenings, talked about their day, consistent early bedtimes too. They saw it all as an investment, not a sacrifice, an investment in the life they wanted.
They have 4 kids between 54 and 62. How did Sam's upbringing shape how he approached physical activity with them?
He really believed the best thing he could give them wasn't money, but habits. Habits for self-care, for being capable. So as soon as they could walk, basically, he had them involved. Yard work, hiking, camping, sports. The goal wasn't to make them star athletes. It was to teach them that being physically capable connects to everything else, being a better student, a better friend, eventually a better worker or parent. It was holistic.
And even as his business grew, he stayed hands-on with the tough stuff well into his 50s, 60s, when he could have easily just managed from an office.
Yeah, and that was intentional. He'd seen other men retire from physical jobs and just decline rapidly. He understood, maybe intuitively at first, that his body needed that regular challenge to stay capable. He couldn't just switch it off.
Okay, so we get to his 70th birthday. It's 1990. By all measures, he's successful. Business is good, kids are grown and doing well, financially comfortable. Most people would be thinking, okay, time to slow down, enjoy retirement. But Sam, he does something different.
Right. He sees 70 not as an endpoint, but as a starting point for optimization. He joins Gold's Gym not really to lose weight or anything, but to figure out how to maintain, even improve his capabilities efficiently as he got older. He starts working with trainers, reading up on exercise science, tracking his progress. He treated it like a serious project, applying that same focus he'd used in his business.
And the results.
Pretty amazing, actually. Through his 70s, he didn't just maintain, he improved his fitness levels. Blood pressure, cholesterol, energy, sleep quality, mood all got better. And Elena joined him in this too, got more systematic about her own health.
Then, 1995, he's 75, makes another key move. Decides he needs to actively challenge his mind. Learns to use a computer. This is mid-90s, remember. Starts formally studying Spanish, connecting with his heritage. Reads constantly history, science, philosophy.
This is so interesting because the research backing this up about cognitive stimulation being crucial for brain health as we age, a lot of that came out much later. He just knew, instinctively perhaps, that keeping his mind active felt good, kept him sharp, kept him engaged. It wasn't just about the body.
Then, 2003, Elena passes away. They'd been married 51 years. That's devastating. Overwhelming grief, loneliness. He apparently questioned everything, including his disciplined lifestyle. A lot of people would just give up at that point. What happened?
And this, I think, reveals maybe the deepest layer of his approach. He came to realize that his commitment to health, to discipline, it wasn't something he did for Elena. It was fundamental to who he was. It came before her, and it had to continue after her. He knew she wouldn't want him to just fade away. So maintaining that lifestyle became almost a way of honoring her, but also of reaffirming his own identity.
So he didn't just stick with it, he actually ramped it up.
He did. More gym time, took up swimming, started competing in senior athletics, increased his volunteering. He made a very conscious choice. Stay engaged, keep learning, maintain independence.
By 80, he's a legend at the gym, outperforming people decades younger. Doctors want him for case studies.
But he stayed humble, always said there's nothing magical here, just show up.
And his 80s were just full of breaking stereotypes. Learns a smartphone, gets on social media, starts dating again, finds companionship with Maria, takes up photography, woodworking. Never stops setting goals.
Exactly. And when he hit 90 in 2010, the media really caught on, and his explanation for his vitality wasn't genetics. It was those 3 principles he lived by: consistency, adaptation, and purpose.
Consistency is showing up. Adaptation is changing your approach when needed.
Right, and purpose.
Yeah.
Understanding that staying healthy lets you serve others, stay connected, it gives meaning to the effort.
So in his 90s, he starts noticing the inevitable subtle changes. Recovery takes a bit longer, maybe strength peaks aren't quite as high. How does he adapt then? Does he finally ease off?
Nope. He sees those changes as data points, information telling him it's time to adjust, not quit. That's the adaptation principle in action. He shifts his workouts, focuses more on functional movement, balance, injury prevention, fine-tunes his nutrition again, adds things like massage, meditation. His view was always, aging requires adaptation, not surrender.
And he started sharing his knowledge more too.
Yeah, became much more intentional about it, speaking at senior centers, working with researchers, mentoring younger people at the gym. He became a living example, very consciously.
Then his 100th birthday, 2020, middle of the pandemic, gyms closed, social distancing. How did he possibly keep it going?
He just refused to let it stop him. Adaptation again. Turned part of his apartment into a home gym, resistance bands, weights, body weight stuff, mastered video calls to stay connected, even did virtual fitness classes. Got outside safely when he could. He just viewed it as another challenge to overcome with resilience.
Which brings us to today, 104. Still driving, still lifting weights, living independently, wakes up 5:30 a.m., reads, stretches, gym 3 times a week, walks on off days. Simple diet, few meds, health markers like someone decades younger, manages his finances, his home, helps family. It's incredible.
And he's still learning. Started learning guitar last year, just because. Active on social media, inspiring thousands. Working on a memoir with speech to text. He just doesn't stop setting goals.
So after looking at all this, the interviews, the records, the observations, what is the secret? Because it's clearly not just one thing.
Exactly. It's not a secret formula. It's a whole approach to living. It's this comprehensive, integrated lifestyle that weaves everything together. Physical health, mental challenge, social connection, purpose. And he's kept it going for, 80+ years? We can break it down into maybe 5 key pillars if you want to think of it that way.
Okay.
First, obviously, is that unwavering commitment to physical fitness. Not as a hobby, but as a fundamental necessity. The bedrock for everything else. We saw that right from childhood.
Right. Pillar 2.
Nutrition, but characterized by simplicity, consistency, moderation, whole foods, reasonable amounts, stay hydrated. Nothing fancy, just sustainable habits learned early on. Third pillar, lifelong learning and mental stimulation. Always curious, always learning new things, setting mental goals. Kept his mind sharp, gave him purpose. He felt it worked long before science proved it.
Okay.
Fourth, social connection and contribution. He never bought into the idea that aging means withdrawing. He always looked for ways to connect, to help, to use his experience. That sense of purpose is huge. And the 5th pillar, maybe the most foundational, is his mindset about aging itself. He simply never accepted the standard story of inevitable decline. He sees aging as needing adaptation and effort, yes, but not predetermined limits. That growth mindset is key.
It really challenges how we culturally think about getting older, doesn't it? We almost expect decline. Sam just offers a different path. He doesn't deny aging, but he refuses to accept limitations that aren't real, refuses to give up his agency.
And that implies something really powerful for all of us. Maybe a lot of what we consider normal aging, the decline, maybe it's more influenced by our expectations and our lifestyle choices than by pure biology. Maybe much of it is preventable, or at least significantly delayable, with consistent effort.
And crucially, his story screams that it's never too late. I mean, he started optimizing at 70. It shows that real change comes from consistency over the long haul, not some drastic, unsustainable burst of effort.
Absolutely. And that link to purpose is critical too. People who thrive into very old age almost always have strong reasons why they want to stay healthy and engaged. Grandkids, community work, independence. That motivation pulls you through. Longevity isn't just luck, it's the sum of countless daily choices.
So when people ask him for advice now, at 104, what's his takeaway?
It's very straightforward, very Sam. He says, start where you are now. Don't beat yourself up about the past. Just make a better choice today. He stresses consistency over intensity. Do something good every day. Set goals that require you to improve, or at least maintain. Find things you actually enjoy, things that have a purpose beyond just burning calories. And, maybe most importantly, never accept limitations unnecessarily. Never stop believing you can adapt and improve, no matter your age.
Sam Rodriguez, 104 years old, exercising consistently for over 80 years, still driving, living on his own, contributing. But his biggest achievement, it's not just the age or the fitness, is it?
No. It's demonstrating that the narrative we adopt about aging, about our own potential, can literally shape our reality. If you expect decline, you often make choices that lead there. If you expect continued growth, adaptation, contribution, you open up possibilities for outcomes most people don't even imagine.
His secret isn't complex. It's not hidden behind a paywall. It's the profound understanding that how we age is largely a matter of choice. And the choices we make every single day, added up over time, they determine not just how long we live, but truly how well we live.
Yeah, this deep dive really shows that remarkable results come from those consistent, better choices, compounding over decades. And the fact that he really doubled down at 70, it just proves it's never, ever too late to start.
We really hope exploring Sam's life leaves you feeling inspired about what's possible. What does Sam's story make you think about your own potential for aging well?